Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
My ex burnt my sister and her 3 kids alive. Their screams will haunt me forever. Sharaz Ali has been found guilty of setting fire to the home of Bryonie Gawith and her 3 small children in the early hours of August 21 last year, killing all 4 in what prosecutors are calling a revenge plot. A woman has described through tears how she couldn't save her sister and 3 young children as they died in a devastating house blaze started by her ex-partner. The court heard how Sharaz Ali, who has today been found guilty of murder, was motivated by jealousy and fueled by drugs when he set alight the home of Bryonie Gawith and her 3 youngsters in the early hours of August 21, 2024. Bryonie, 29, and her children, Denisty Birtle, 9, Oscar Birtle, 5, and 22-month-old Aubree Birtle tragically died in the fire. Ali, 40, was found guilty of targeting the property on Westbury Road in Bradford to take revenge on his former partner, Bryonie's sister Antonia Gawith, who was staying there after ending their abusive 7-year relationship earlier that month. Calum Sunderland, 26, who went with Ali to the house and kicked the door in for him, was also found guilty of the manslaughter of Bryonie and the 3 children, but cleared of the more serious charge of murder. Sunderland was also found not guilty of attempted murder and an alternative count of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm to Antonia Gawith. Both had denied the charges they faced. Mohammed Shabir, 45, who had been set to stand trial alongside them, died last month from a heart attack after collapsing in prison. On the night of the fatal blaze, Ali and convicted arsonist Sunderland were driven to the house on Westbury Road, Bradford, by Shabir. Jurors heard how the 3 men stopped on the way to fill a 7-litre canister with petrol and that Ali sent Antonia a series of aggressive messages accusing her of being with someone else. When the men arrived, Antonia, who had finished a shift at Tesco's at 12:30 a.m, had been with Bryonie in the main bedroom upstairs. Doorbell footage shows Ali telling Sunderland, who was carrying the petrol and a lighter, to kick the door in. He then did so before running back to the car. Last month, jurors at Doncaster Crown Court watched Antonia's video interview with police, where she broke down whilst recounting her desperate attempts to get help for her sister and nieces and nephews as flames engulfed the house with them inside. She explained she had been in Bryonie's bedroom when Ali began sending accusatory messages. Antonia said her sister told her to ignore him and began drifting off to sleep. "I never thought he'd come and do that. Why would he do that?" she asked officers. Antonia said she heard the house's ring doorbell alert and began heading downstairs. "I started walking downstairs and the door was kicked through and Ali and another man were stood there, but the man that kicked the door ran straight off," she told police. "Ali started pouring petrol on me. I was saying, 'Please don't. I love you. I'll come back. Don't do this,'" she told police. "I was begging. I would say anything just so he wouldn't do it," she said. Ali appeared angry and was shouting, though she couldn't recall his exact words, adding, "It just seems so different. He just didn't seem himself at all. It was just crazy." Antonia described attempting to wrestle the petrol and lighter from Ali's grasp, expecting him to follow her. "I was screaming for help, but he didn't follow me. I ran back to the house, and as I ran back, my sister kicked him down the stairs, and then I tried to get him out. I pulled the petrol off him and tried to get him out, and then he hit the lighter. I seen him set on fire, and all the stairs, and my sister." Antonia said the front door slammed shut, and when she managed to force it open, there was fire everywhere. I was scared to go in because I thought I would just burn, she said. Antonia told police she rushed round to the back door, but it was stuck, and she began kicking it while screaming and shouting for her sister to escape. Ali sent a barrage of messages to Antonia that day that were abusive in their nature and motivated by jealousy and fueled by drugs. He concocted a plan to inflict maximum pain on his ex-partner, the court has heard during the trial. She said Bryonie, who had dialed 999 when coming down the stairs, threw a phone out the window. She told officers she grabbed it and started shouting down the phone, telling them to send everybody, the police, ambulance, fire brigade. I was just screaming, trying to get back in the house, and I couldn't get in. I couldn't save them, she said, tears streaming down her face. Antonia recounted to officers how police arrived and broke through the door, pulling Ali out, but by the time the fire brigade arrived, it was tragically too late to save Bryonie and the children. She described attempting to get upstairs, but being held back as she was still drenched in petrol. They said it wasn't safe. I was just begging them all and screaming and crying, and I just wanted to save them, and I couldn't do anything. They wouldn't let me go up. I just wanted to be with her. I was covered in petrol, so they were trying to keep me back. Footage played during the trial had been edited to mute screaming, which may have been from one of the children. Prosecutor David Brooke KC stated that one of them may have been woken up by the sound and frightened by the sound of the explosion. The court heard Ali refused treatment from paramedics at the scene and that he was put into an induced coma for months before his recovery began. Jurors were told that after the incident, 2 fingers on each of his hands had been amputated, that he still uses oxygen and still has difficulty speaking. Antonia revealed that Ali was quite controlling and violent during their relationship, and that her sister was the one person she could confide in after losing many of her friends. She shared, "He used to go out on benders and get drunk and not come home. I was scared to leave him. I was just so scared of him. I don't know why I stayed with him. He promised me he'd stop drinking and wouldn't take drugs, but he was coming back most days drunk and on drugs." She credited Bryonie for giving her the strength to end the relationship with Ali when the 2 sisters were on holiday weeks before the fire. Antonia told police, "I felt like I had the confidence and the support to finally leave him. The other day I said, 'Should I just go back?' And she said, 'Don't be stupid, you're finally free of him.'" After they returned their verdicts, Mr. Justice Hilliard thanked jurors and said the case had been distressing beyond measure, 3 children and their mother murdered. He said, "I don't think anyone who heard Antonia's desperate cries for help will ever forget them." He added, "These are truly dreadful crimes." But he said there was also the extraordinary bravery shown by people who tried to save the children trapped in the house, including their mother Antonia. He praised PC Miles Milner, who pulled Ali out of the fire along with a colleague. The judge asked, "Did you ever hear a braver thing?" Mr. Justice Hilliard said jurors were excused jury service in future. During the trial, Sunderland repeatedly refused to answer questions while under cross-examination. A convicted arsonist and drug addict, he claimed he had been enlisted to burn a car and would never have gone if he'd known there were people in the house. He said he was part of the drug world and that he'd bought drugs from him as well as selling drugs on his behalf, but didn't know about his co-defendant's personal life. Sunderland was acquitted of attempting to murder Antonia Gawith and a charge of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm to Antonia. Speaking after the jury returned their verdicts, Deck Chief Inspector Stacey Atkinson from West Yorkshire Police condemned their horrific and truly callous actions. They left a mum and her 3 children completely helpless, whilst her sister and their auntie watched on in horror. They said, "Our thoughts and sympathies are with the family who, despite their immense strength of character, now face the rest of their lives without them. Ali and Sunderland will be sentenced at a later date."